and welcome. In today's session, I am going to give a quick recap of the chapter Matrices and Determinants. I will be covering the entire chapter from the NCERT book. Certain concepts have been removed from the curriculum this academic year. You need not have to focus on those concepts. You can just ignore those subdivisions. I am sure the concepts, the points, the tips and the formulae what I am going to stress upon in this video will definitely help you when you prepare for your examination, and also it will keep you in good stead when you write the board examination. Here we go. The first and the foremost point is the notation. You know, matrix is nothing but the arrangement of numbers and it has got no specific value, no particular definite value. We always represent a matrix by a capital letter and we put a square bracket or a flower bracket or this bracket. Whereas a determinant of the matrix A has got a definite specific value. We represent it by this notation. So when you write the examination and when you attempt a question based on matrices and determinants, you should not mix up these two notations. You have to be careful. If you mix up, it will convey entirely different meaning and definitely you will be losing marks. So that should be kept in your mind. The second point is the multiplication. Suppose the matrix A is going to be of order 3 by 2 and matrix B is going to be of the order 2 by 4, then the product AB exists. The reason is, if you see the number of columns of the first matrix, that is equal to the number of rows of the second matrix. Therefore, the product exists and the product matrix AB will be of order 3 by 4. The product AB will be of order 3 by 4. What will happen to BA? B is of order 2 by 4 and A is of order 3 by 2. Here, the number of columns of the first matrix is not equal to the number of rows of the second matrix. In such cases, the multiplication does not exist. So, this implies the product AB does not exist. This concept is very important because very often they ask a question for 1 mark based on this particular concept. Now, coming to the third point, transpose of a matrix. Transpose of a matrix is nothing but a matrix obtained by interchanging the rows and columns of the given matrix. Suppose you are given the matrix A 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, minus 1, 2, 3, minus 2. Then transpose of the matrix is represented by A transpose, which is nothing but the rows and columns you have to interchange. That means the first row will become the first column, second row will become the second column, third row will become the third column. Very simple concept. Okay. Then coming to the next one, symmetric matrix and skew symmetric matrix. A given matrix A is said to be symmetric if transpose of the matrix is equal to the matrix itself. This implies A is symmetric or A is a symmetric matrix. Whereas if A transpose is equal to negative of the matrix A, this implies A is skew symmetric. Then also you should know any square matrix A can be written as a sum of symmetric and skew symmetric matrix, like half of A plus A transpose plus half of A minus A transpose. See, when you simplify, you will be getting the matrix A. Here, this part is symmetric plus this part is skew symmetric. So, any square matrix A can be written as the sum of symmetric and skew symmetric matrices, where half of A plus A transpose is symmetric matrix and half of A minus A transpose is a skew symmetric matrix. Now, this concept is equally important. They may ask you to find out the values of A and B if the given matrix is a symmetric matrix or the given matrix is a skew symmetric matrix. You have to read the question properly and answer to the point. Coming to principle of mathematical induction. When you attempt a question based on principle of mathematical induction, 3 points should be kept in mind. If you take the given statement as P of n, then the first point is you have to prove P of n is true for n is equal to 1. That is to prove P of 1 is true. That is the first and the foremost point. The second point is assume P of n is true for n is equal to k. That is assume P of k is true. Third point, to prove P of n is true for n is equal to k plus 1. That is to prove that P of k plus 1 is true. Finally, you need to conclude, after attempting all these 3 points, you need to conclude your answer. Hence, P of n is true for all n belongs to n, natural numbers. If this concept is not there for the examination, you can just ignore this. Okay, now coming to the next one, properties regarding A transpose. The first one, A transpose, the whole transpose is equal to A. The second property, A plus B, the whole transpose is equal to A transpose plus B transpose. Same thing for the minus. Then AB, the whole transpose is equal to B transpose into A transpose. Normally students will go wrong in this particular property. It is not A transpose into B transpose, but it is B transpose into A transpose. Even we can extend this. A, B, C. The whole transpose is nothing but C transpose into B transpose into A transpose. Then the next important property is Ka. The whole transpose is nothing but K into A transpose. So these properties should be kept in mind. Questions may be asked for 1 mark based on these concepts. Next one is the diagonal matrix. You may come across a problem like this. A is the diagonal matrix. They will say DIAG, diag, 3, 2, 1. Matrix B is diagonal matrix 1, minus 1, 3. Find A plus B. See, this matrix A is nothing but 3, 0, 0, 0, 2, 0, 0, 0, 1. That is all the main diagonal elements 3, 2, 1. That is what is given here. All other elements are 0. This notation you have to remember. Same way, the matrix B is nothing but 1, 0, 0, 0, minus 1, 0, 0, 0, 3. Now it is easy for you to find out A plus B or A minus B or 2A plus 3B or 4A minus 2B. So questions will be asked like that. 1 or 2 questions are there with this notation. That's why I am recalling that particular point here. You should not forget. So A plus B is equal to 3, 0, 0, 0, 2, 0, 0, 0, 1 plus 1, 0, 0, 0, minus 1, 0, 0, 0, 3. Now collect the right terms. You will be getting, it is nothing but a matrix 4, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 4. So that is your A plus B. So this notation you have to remember. Okay. Passing on to the next point. This point should be kept in mind because questions may be asked for 1 mark. For a skew symmetric matrix, all diagonal elements are 0. Already I told you what is symmetric matrix and what is skew symmetric matrix. Symmetric matrix is nothing but if the transpose of the matrix is equal to the matrix itself. That is, if A transpose is equal to A, then it is symmetric matrix. Whereas, if A transpose is equal to negative of the matrix A, then it is skew symmetric matrix. For a skew symmetric matrix, all the diagonal elements are 0. That point should be kept in mind. Okay. Next one is minors and cofactors. It's a very, very important concept. Suppose the matrix A, consider a 2 by 2 matrix. 2, 1, minus 1, 3. Then, minor of the first element, A11, this is small A11, is nothing but M1, we represent it by M11. It's nothing but leave that particular row and the column, only in that intersection that element 2 is there. So what is the element left? 3. So minor of the element A11 is 3. And the corresponding cofactor will be, we represent the cofactor by capital A11, which is minus 1 to the power I plus j into M11. This is the formula for that. Where I is 1, j is 1. So you will be getting minus 1 to the power 1 plus 1 into M11. M11 is 3. So into 3, which is going to be 3. Suppose A is equal to 1, 0, 1, 2, minus 1, 3, 1, minus 1, minus 2. You have to find out the minors and the cofactor of the element A23. That is minor of the element A23. A23 is nothing but the element in the second row and third column. So, second row, third column, the element is 3. How will you find out the minor? That is, M23 is nothing but, leave the particular row and the column, only in that intersection you are having that element 3. So, what are the remaining elements you are having? You have to find the determinant value of that, which is determinant 1, 0, 1 minus 1, which is nothing but minus 1. I repeat, you have to find out the minor of the element A23, which is nothing but the element 3 over here. So, leave the second row and the third column, only in that intersection you are having the element A23. So, then the determinant value of the other elements 1, 0, 1 minus 1 will give you the minor of the element A23. The corresponding cofactor will be capital A23, which is minus 1 to the power I plus j. I is 2, j is 3. So, 2 plus 3 into M23. Here it is minus 1 to the power 5 is minus 1 into minus 1. So, the product is going to be 1. So, this is the minor of that element A23 and this is the cofactor of the element A23. So, in this way, you need to find out the minors and the cofactors of all the elements of this matrix. Find the sum of the minors of A23 and A31. So, like that the question may be asked. So, you need to know how to find out the minors and cofactors of the given matrix. Okay. The next one is adjoint of the matrix A. Adjoint of the matrix A is also a very important concept. Just now I told you how to find out the minors and the cofactors. So, adjoint of the matrix A is nothing but transpose of the cofactor matrix. That is, you need to find out the cofactors of all the elements of the given matrix. Suppose the matrix A is A11, A12, A13, A21, A22, A23, A31, A32, A33. You need to find out the cofactors of each and every element of this matrix. And normally we represent the cofactors in terms of the capital letters. So, adjoint of A is nothing but transpose of the cofactor matrix. See, this matrix A11, A12, A13, A21, A22, A23, A31, A32, A33. This is the cofactor matrix. So, transpose of this will give you adjoint of the matrix A. What is the transpose of the matrix? Just now I told you, it is a matrix obtained by interchanging the rows and columns of the given matrix. Now, when you interchange, you will be getting first row will become the first column, second row will become the second column, third row will become the third column. That's all. This is how you will find out the adjoint of the matrix A. There are so many properties based on adjoint of A. I will write it at the end of this particular session. So, adjoint of A is over. Coming back to singular and non-singular matrix. The matrix A is said to be a singular matrix if its determinant of A is equal to 0. This concept is important because they will give you a matrix with unknown value. They will say, find out that unknown value if the matrix is a singular matrix. Immediately, this particular concept should come to your mind. You should equate its determinant value to 0 to get the unknown value. Okay. In this case, A inverse does not exist. Anyway, we are going to study about A inverse next. Then, the matrix A is said to be a non-singular matrix if determinant of A is not equal to 0. Only in such cases A inverse exists or A is invertible. So only this concept I am going to tell you next. So these 2 points are very important. Singular matrix and non-singular matrix. Now, coming back to A inverse. It's again a very important concept. A inverse is nothing but 1 by determinant of A into adjoint of A. Already I told you how to find out adjoint of the matrix A. You need to find the minus and the cofactors of all the elements of the given matrix A. Then transpose of the cofactor matrix will give you adjoint of the matrix A. You know how to find out the determinant value of the given matrix A. Then when you substitute in this formula, you will be getting A inverse. For finding out A inverse, you have got 3 different methods. One is, you can straightaway use the formula 1 by determinant of A into adjoint of A. Other method is, you can use row or column transformation, row or column transformation to find out A inverse. And then third method is, they may give you an equation of the type f of A equal to 0. They will ask you to prove this. And then using that equation, you will be asked to find out A inverse. For example, they may give a matrix A. They will ask you to prove that 7A square minus 5A plus 17 equal to 0. 17 here is 17I. You should take it as 17I, where I is the identity matrix of the order of the given matrix A. Once you prove that is equal to a 0 matrix, then using that equation, you need to find out A inverse. We have done many problems of this type. If you go through my previous videos, you will come to know how to find out A inverse using this particular equation. Okay. Row column transformation again. As I told you in the beginning, if certain concepts are not there this particular year for the board examination, you can just ignore that particular concept. Focus on the remaining ones which are included in the curriculum. Now, when you use row transformation, you need to consider the given matrix A as IA. If you are going to use the column transformation, then A should be considered as A into I. You need to read the question properly and then answer. Then, already if you go through my videos, you will know an important path I have mentioned for row transformation as well as for column transformation. If you use that method, it will be easy for you to find out A inverse. To sum up, if they ask you to find out A inverse, the best method is to use the formula 1 by determinant of A into adjoint of A. Suppose if they specifically mentioned certain pattern, then you have to use only that particular type to find out A inverse. What are all the different types you are having? Formula method already I told you. Then row or column transformation. How to consider the matrix A for row transformation? A is equal to IA. For column transformation, A should be taken as A into I. Then a particular pattern I already mentioned in my video. Please go through it so that you will be in a position to get A inverse without any difficulty. The other type is they will give you a matrix A. They will ask you to prove matrix equation 5A square plus 7A minus 11 equal to 0. In that case 11 is nothing but 11I. And 0 you have to prove that is a 0 matrix. Using that, how to find out A inverse. We have done many problems based on that also. Again, it is a very important concept. Okay, I already told you, I will write down certain important properties because the number of 1 mark questions are more. You can expect questions based on any of these concepts. It's very important. Please make a note of it. Determinant of Ka is nothing but K power n into determinant of A, where n is the order of the matrix. Determinant AB is nothing but determinant A into determinant B. A into adjoint of A is equal to In, that is identity matrix. The order of the matrix should be the order of the given matrix A into determinant of A, which is also equal to adjoint of A into A. Then determinant of A into adjoint of A is determinant of A to the power n. Then adjoint of AB is adjoint of B into adjoint of A. Normally students will go wrong in this concept. The next one, adjoint of A transpose is equal to adjoint of A the whole transpose. Then determinant of adjoint of A is determinant A to the power n minus 1. They may even ask for 2 marks. Certain questions may be asked for 2 marks based on these concepts. Then adjoint of adjoint A is determinant of A to the power n minus 2 into A. Then determinant adjoint of adjoint A is determinant A to the power n minus 1 the whole square. Then A inverse the whole inverse is nothing but A. A transpose the whole inverse is A inverse the whole transpose. Determinant of A inverse is 1 by determinant of A. AB the whole inverse is B inverse into A inverse. You can extend it. ABC the whole inverse is C inverse into B inverse into A inverse. So these are all very important properties. You can make a note of it. One day before the examination when you do your revision, please go through all these points. Sometimes they may give you the 3 vertices of a triangle. They will ask you to find out the area using determinants. Immediately this formula should come to your mind. Area of triangle is equal to half of determinant x1 y1 1, x2 y2 1, x3 y3 1 square units. You have to take the magnitude finally. If you get negative answer, area cannot be negative. So you have to give only the positive value. Okay. So what are all the different ways of asking questions based on the area of the triangle? Then they give you points A, x1, y1, B, x2, y2, C, x3, y3. Using determinants, prove that the points are collinear. They are asking you to prove the points are collinear. You know, if the area of the triangle is equal to 0, then the points are collinear. So immediately that point should come to your mind. You need to write, if the area of triangle is equal to 0, then the points are collinear. So, you have to find the area of the triangle. So, what is the formula for area of the triangle? Half of determinant x1, y1, 1, x2, y2, 1, x3, y3, 1. When you substitute for x1, y1, x2, y2, x3, y3, because the 3 points will be given to you. If you get the area 0, then you can conclude the points are collinear. Okay. Other way of asking question is, if the points are collinear, find the unknown value. See, they may give the points like this. A, x1, comma k. B, x2, y2. C, x3, y3. The question may be asked like this. The points A, B, C are collinear. Find the value of k using determinants. In such case, what you should do? Since the points are collinear, area of the triangle is equal to 0. So that point should be written by you. Since the points are collinear, area of the triangle is equal to 0. So equate, you know the formula for finding area of the triangle. Substitute these coordinates and equate to 0 and get the value for k. You need to know the difference between this question and this question. Here you have been asked to prove the points are collinear. That means you should find the area of the triangle and you should get the answer as 0. Only then you can conclude the points are collinear. Whereas here the points are collinear, then find the value of k. So you have been given the points are collinear. That means you have to equate the area to 0 and then get the unknown value k. Sometimes the question may be given like this. The vertices of the triangle are A, x1, comma y1, B, k, comma y2, C, x3, comma y3. And the area of the triangle is equal to 12 square units. Find the value of k. In this case, you need to first write the area of the triangle. Area of triangle is equal to half of determinant x1, y1, 1, k, y2, 1, x3, y3, 1 is equal to plus or minus 12. You have to consider both the cases. See, I told you, even if you get the area as negative, we always take the absolute value. Only the magnitude of the area we are taking. So, this point should be kept in mind. Here your x1, y1, x2, y2, that is k, y2, x3, y3 are all the vertices of the triangle and there are some numbers. So, once you substitute here, you will get to know the value of k. You will get two values for k. One is with plus 12, another one is with minus 12. You check up in the rough column whether both the values satisfy or not. The one which, suppose if one particular value is not satisfying this condition of 12 square units, you can just neglect that particular value. Okay, so these are all the different ways of asking questions based on that using the area of the triangle. One more type is also there. So collinear, you are finished. Straight line. I ask you to find the equation of the straight line using determinant. What they will do? They will give the point A as x1, y1, B as x2, y2. That is, they may give 1, 0, 2, minus 3, like that. They will ask you to write the equation of the line. Find the equation of the line. Find the equation of the line. Then this method should come to your mind. You have to take, let P x comma of y lies on AB. Then what will happen? This implies A, P, B are collinear. It's a very, very important point. Now what is the condition for collinearity? Area of the triangle should be equal to 0. So this implies area of triangle equal to 0. Now when you equate area of the triangle to 0, you will be getting the equation of the line AB. So this also very, very important type. They may ask for 2 marks. Chances are there. They may ask you for 2 marks in the board examination. Okay. Now coming back to the next concept of solving the equations. Very important type. They will ask for 5 marks in the examination. Solving the system of linear equations. These are all the 4 types I have mentioned over here. The first one is equations. You will be given 3 linear equations and you have to solve to get the value for x, y and z. The first and the foremost step is you have to put those equations in matrix form. You know how to do it. It should be of the form Ax equal to b. This gives you x is equal to A inverse b. Already you know how to find out A inverse. A inverse is nothing but 1 by determinant of A into adjoint of A. And then multiply it with the column matrix B. Then you will know x is nothing but x, y, z and A inverse into B is going to be a column matrix. Then since these 2 matrices are equal, the corresponding elements are equal, that will give you the value for x, y, z. We have done many problems based on this. The next one. You will be given the next type. Find A inverse and solve the system of equations. So, you know how to find A inverse. The matrix A will be given to you. Then, from there you know, determinant of A should not be equal to 0. Then using the formula, A inverse is equal to 1 by determinant of A into adjoint of A. Find out A inverse. Okay. You have to use that A inverse to solve the system of equations. When you put those linear equations in matrix form, you will be getting it as Ax equal to b. The system of equations you are going to write in matrix form, that will be of the form Ax equal to b. This A and the matrix what is given to you will be one and the same matrix you will get. Then this implies x is equal to A inverse b. Already for this matrix A, you all got A inverse. That should be substituted here. Then you will be getting the value for x, y, z. Again, this type also we have done so many problems. Then, before I pass on to this type, let me explain this type here. Now, you will be given the matrix A. You need to find A inverse. Using that A inverse, you have to solve the system of linear equations. So, you will be given the matrix A. You know how to find out A inverse. Okay. Then, the given system of linear equations, put it in matrix form. You will be getting A transpose into X equal to B. Whereas here, you got Ax is equal to B. But sometimes, when you put the equations in matrix form, you may not get A. You may get A transpose. So, this type you will get. This implies X is equal to A transpose the whole inverse into B. You know the property, already I wrote on the board. This is nothing but A inverse the whole transpose into B. Already you have found out A inverse. Substitute here. write the transpose of that. That means you have to interchange the rows and the columns. Then it is very easy for you to find out the value for x, y, z. See here, I cannot solve the problems. I can only give you the hints because we have done many problems based on this. These are all the types involved which you can expect in the board examination. Okay, coming back to this last type, you will be given the matrix A and the matrix B. They will ask you to find the product AB and solve. What you should do? First find out the product AB. Whenever you find out the product AB, it will be a number multiplied by the identity matrix. You may get I, or you may get 2I, or you may get 6I, or you may get 12I or 8I, like that. You will be getting either AX equal to C, or you may get BX equal to C. We don't know. Once you write the equations in matrix form, then compare that matrix with the given matrix A and B. Accordingly, you will be writing AX equal to C or BX equal to C. Okay, so you are getting either AX equal to C or you may get BX equal to C. From here, X is equal to A inverse into C. If you get in this form, this implies X is equal to B inverse into C. So from the product matrix, for example, let me take like this. In the sample paper, you will be getting the product AB as 6I. So, if you get it as 6I, in this case you want A inverse. So what will happen? This implies I is equal to 1 by 6 of AB. A into 1 by 6 of B. So, 1 by 6 of the matrix B should be A inverse because A into A inverse equal to I. I know the matrix B because you will be given the matrix A and B. Only then you are finding out the product AB. So, here you will be substituting 1 by 6 of the matrix B into C. You know how to do it later on. Suppose you want B inverse. From the product you have to find out B inverse. So how will you go about this? I can write it as 1 by 6 of A into B. So B into B inverse will give me I. So here it is going to be 1 by 6 of the matrix A into C. Then it is easy for you to find the value for X, Y, Z. Suppose the matrix A is a diagonal matrix given as 2, 0, 0, 0, 3, 0, 0, 0, 1. You know, for diagonal matrix, just now I told you, you will have only diagonal elements, main diagonal elements. All other entries will be 0. Now, what will happen to determinant of A? It's going to be, normally you do it, if you expand it through the first row, it is 2 into product of 3 into 1, which is 3, you are getting it as 6. Or, the determinant of A is equal to, as per the rule, the product of the elements of the main diagonal. So, you will be getting, main diagonal elements are 2 into 3 into 1, which is equal to 6. So, both are same. Okay, this also you should keep in mind. Then the last property, value of determinant using cofactors. Suppose the matrix A is given to you as A11, A12, A13, A21, A22, A23, A31, A32, A33. If the corresponding cofactor elements are A11, A12, A13, A21, A22, A23, A31, A32, A33. These are the corresponding cofactors of the elements A11, A12, A13, A21, A22, A23, A31, A32, A33. Or in other words, A11, capital A11 is the cofactor of small a11. That's what I mean. Then, determinant of A is nothing but you take any row or any column, the choice is yours. Okay, suppose I take the first row. What are the elements here? A11 multiplied by the corresponding cofactor A11 plus A12, the corresponding cofactor capital A12 plus A13, corresponding cofactor A13. This will be the value of the determinant. Suppose you take third row. Then what will happen? Determinant of A, you will get the same value A31 into the cofactor A31 plus A32 into the cofactor A32 plus A33 into the cofactor capital that A33. This will give you the value of the determinant. If you choose any column, then A11 multiplied by the corresponding cofactor plus A21 with the cofactor, A31 with the corresponding cofactor, you have to add everything to get the determinant value. Suppose if you choose one particular row, but if you write the cofactors of some other row, then the value of the determinant will be 0. That is, for example, value of the determinant. If I choose the second row, A21, I should choose capital A21 cofactor. Instead, I am going to take the cofactors of the first one, A11 plus A22. Elements I am taking from the second row, but I am writing the cofactors of some other row. So, A12 plus A23, A13. This value is going to be 0. So, this point also should be kept in mind. You may be asked for 1 mark. With that, we have come to the end of today's session. Since it is a quick recap of this particular chapter, I can't be working out each and every problems on the board. It is not possible. But I have recalled all the concepts, all the points. I have given you the tips. I told you what are things you should keep in mind. I told you where and all the students can go wrong. And also with the general values like x1, y1, x2, y2 without giving any particular value, in general I explained you all the different types involved as far as this particular chapter is concerned. Especially some difficulties may be there for you to understand in solving the system of equations. But it is very, very important concept. If you go through my previous videos solving linear equations, I have covered all the 4 types in detail. All those points what I discussed with you today will definitely help you and make you do very well in the examination, the board examination, as far as this particular chapter is concerned. Thank you very much. I will meet you in my next class.